The portrayal of biblical characters in Western art has long been a subject of curiosity and critical examination. Figures such as Moses, Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba hold profound significance in religious texts and cultural histories. Moses, as a leader and prophet, symbolizes liberation and unwavering faith. Solomon is celebrated for his wisdom, embodying ideals of justice and prosperity. The Queen of Sheba, with her enigmatic presence, represents strength and diplomacy. These characters are deeply rooted in African history and culture, yet their depictions in Western art often fail to acknowledge these origins, reshaping the historical and cultural understanding of their identities. This artistic evolution, particularly prominent during the Renaissance, shifted from the symbolic and abstract representations of early Christian art to more realistic and emotionally resonant portrayals. However, this change introduced a Eurocentric lens, influenced significantly by the colonial expansion of European powers. As these empires extended their reach, their cultural values and aesthetics overshadowed the diverse heritage of biblical figures, leading to depictions that align with European ideals and marginalized African influences. This trend reflects broader historical narratives and underscores the importance of critically examining representation in art and its impact on cultural and historical understanding. Key artists like Michelangelo, Raphael, and later figures from the Baroque period played pivotal roles in shaping the portrayal of biblical characters with European features. Their works often depicted figures such as Moses with distinctly European characteristics, aligning these characters with Western ideals and aesthetics. Michelangelo's renowned statue of Moses, for example, portrays the leader with a muscular build and flowing beard, embodying Renaissance ideals rather than reflecting the historical and cultural context of an ancient Hebrew figure. Similarly, Raphael and Rembrandt created paintings that further perpetuated this Eurocentric narrative. The historical context of these artistic choices reveals the broader implications for cultural identity and perception. By depicting Moses and other biblical figures in this manner, these artworks contributed to a distorted understanding of biblical history, overshadowing the African and Middle Eastern origins of these characters. Such portrayals have shaped cultural perceptions for generations, reinforcing narratives that marginalize the diverse heritage of these iconic figures. The depiction of Moses, in particular, serves as a striking example of how art can influence our understanding of religious and cultural history. The depiction of biblical figures like Moses and Solomon in Western art underscores a pervasive tendency to align these characters with Eurocentric ideals, often overlooking their historical and cultural roots. The Bible describes Moses as a Hebrew raised in Egypt, highlighting his deep connections to the African continent. However, many artistic portrayals present him as a European figure, disregarding this heritage. This contrast between historical and biblical descriptions and their artistic interpretations reveals the need for more accurate representation to reclaim the diverse identities of figures like Moses. Similarly, King Solomon, celebrated for his wisdom and wealth, has frequently been depicted in Western art as a European monarch, with features and attire that align with Western concepts of nobility. Notable works by artists such as Jean-Léon Gérôme and Gustave Moreau often present Solomon as a figure of opulence, yet these portrayals neglect his origins as a Hebrew king from the ancient Near East. By emphasizing European characteristics, such representations obscure the rich cultural context and African heritage that shaped his legacy. Exploring these discrepancies allows us to better understand the cultural significance of these figures and the importance of challenging narratives that marginalize their true identities. As a descendant of King David and ruler of Israel, King Solomon's lineage and reign connect him to a profound tapestry of African history and culture. His wisdom, celebrated in biblical texts, reflects a rich intellectual tradition that spans diverse cultures, including those of Africa. The Bible highlights Solomon's interactions with various cultures, notably with the Queen of Sheba, often associated with African lineage. However, the predominance of Eurocentric portrayals in Western art often diminishes these connections, presenting Solomon with European features and aesthetics that obscure his true heritage. This disconnect between biblical narratives and artistic representations underscores the need for a more inclusive approach to his legacy, one that acknowledges the richness of his African roots. Similarly, the Queen of Sheba, a powerful and influential figure in ancient history, has frequently been misrepresented in Western art. Instead of reflecting her African heritage, artists like Edward Pointer and Lawrence Almeida Dima often depict her with European features, embodying Western ideals of beauty and elegance. These portrayals distort her true identity and sideline the cultural significance of her origins. Historically, the Queen of Sheba is a symbol of strength, diplomacy, and African heritage, and recognizing her authentic story is crucial to honoring the depth of her legacy and the historical narrative she represents. The Queen of Sheba is celebrated as a powerful and wise leader who engaged in a legendary meeting with King Solomon, a moment that symbolizes the exchange of knowledge and culture between Africa and the ancient Near East. Her intelligence and diplomatic skills underscore her significance as a bridge between civilizations. Despite this, Eurocentric portrayals often diminish her legacy, reducing her to an exotic figure rather than acknowledging her as a formidable ruler. These misrepresentations have far-reaching implications, shaping perceptions of African women and contributing to stereotypes that undermine their strength and complexity. Recognizing the Queen of Sheba's true identity allows for a more accurate and respectful representation that honors her role in history and the richness of African heritage. Simon of Cyrene, another figure of immense historical and symbolic importance, played a vital role in the crucifixion narrative. A man from North Africa, Simon was in Jerusalem for Passover when he was compelled by Roman soldiers to carry Jesus' cross to Golgotha. This act, though unplanned, carries profound symbolic meaning. It highlights not only the physical weight of the cross, but also the spiritual burden of humanity's sins. Simon's role serves as a testament to how ordinary individuals can become integral to extraordinary events, illustrating themes of service and sacrifice. His story continues to resonate as a powerful reminder of the lasting impact of even the smallest acts of compassion and courage. Simon of Cyrene's moment of service, though born of obligation, became one of profound significance. His willingness to assist Jesus, even under duress, exemplifies selflessness and compassion. This act prompts reflection on how we can carry the burdens of others in our own lives. Simon's brief but impactful role in the crucifixion narrative encourages us to embrace opportunities for service and sacrifice, reminding us that even in moments of hardship, our actions can contribute to a greater purpose. Similarly, the parable of the Good Samaritan, found in Luke 10 verses 25 to 37, is a timeless lesson in compassion and neighborly love. It tells the story of a traveler who is attacked by robbers and left for dead, ignored by a priest and a Levite, but aided by a Samaritan, someone often viewed with disdain in first century Judea. The Samaritan's actions defy societal expectations. He tends to the man's wounds, ensures his care at an inn, and offers to cover additional expenses. By highlighting a Samaritan as the hero, Jesus challenges entrenched biases and underscores that true kindness transcends ethnic and religious divisions. These stories, Simon of Cyrene's assistance, and the Good Samaritan's compassion, remind us of the power of service and empathy, encouraging us to rise above prejudice and embrace the shared humanity that unites us all. The parable of the Good Samaritan delivers a radical message that challenges societal norms and redefines compassion and community. It teaches that love and kindness should transcend biases and expectations, urging us to help those in need without hesitation. The Samaritan's actions remind us that compassion is a universal obligation, not confined by cultural or social divisions. In a world often marked by differences, this parable inspires us to act with empathy and extend support to all, embodying the essence of neighborly love. It calls on us to recognize that everyone, regardless of their background, deserves care and respect. Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, is another figure whose representation in art and media often obscures his true heritage. Portrayed as a white European man, his African and Middle Eastern roots are frequently overlooked. In the New Testament, Joseph's character is one of quiet strength and deep faith. His righteousness is evident in his response to Mary's unexpected pregnancy. Instead of exposing her to public shame, he plans to divorce her quietly. However, when an angel appears to him in a dream and reveals the divine nature of Mary's child, Joseph immediately obeys, taking Mary as his wife. Joseph's protective role in Jesus' early life underscores his commitment and courage. After the visit of the Magi, he is warned in another dream about King Herod's intent to harm the child. Without delay, he leads Mary and Jesus to Egypt, ensuring their safety. These acts of obedience and sacrifice highlight Joseph's vital role in the biblical narrative and invite a deeper appreciation for his legacy, rooted in the diverse cultural tapestry of the ancient Middle East. Joseph's active protection for his family not only underscores his role as a devoted father, but also highlights the importance of safeguarding the mission entrusted to him. His actions reveal a deep sense of responsibility and love, illustrating how true faith often requires challenging choices and sacrifices. By trusting in God's plan, even when it went against societal expectations, Joseph serves as a model of faithful obedience. His life reminds us to consider our own responses to divine guidance and to value the strength found in quiet, steadfast faith. His legacy is a powerful testament to how faith and obedience can fulfill a greater purpose. The story of the Cushite woman in Numbers 12:1-15 introduces themes of diversity and divine acceptance. Moses' marriage to a woman from Cush, a region associated with modern-day Ethiopia, stands out as a challenge to the norms of the Israelite community, which often emphasize cultural and ethnic boundaries in marriage. This union reflects God's inclusive plan, which transcends human divisions. When Miriam criticizes Moses for his marriage, questioning his authority, God's response is immediate and decisive. God defends Moses, affirming his unique relationship with him and validating his leadership. This narrative not only highlights Moses' role, but also emphasizes the broader themes of inclusion and respect for God's choices. By supporting Moses and his Cushite wife, God underscores that his purpose extends beyond ethnic and cultural lines. The Cushite woman serves as a symbol of God's boundless grace and the call for unity among his people. Her story challenges us to reflect on our own views of diversity and inclusion, reminding us of the expansive nature of God's love and the importance of embracing all people within his plan. At the heart of the biblical narrative is Jesus Christ, whose life represents the culmination of God's plan for humanity. From his miraculous birth in Bethlehem, fulfilling Old Testament prophecies, to his baptism by John the Baptist marking the start of his ministry, Jesus embodies divine purpose. Through his teachings, miracles, and acts of healing, Jesus reveals his mission to bring salvation to the world. His crucifixion and resurrection form the foundation of Christian faith, demonstrating God's ultimate love and redemption for humanity. Jesus' life invites us to reflect on the depth of his teachings and the transformative power of his mission. Central to Jesus' teachings are themes of love, forgiveness, and redemption. He emphasized the importance of loving one another, declaring that the greatest commandments are to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. Through parables like the Good Samaritan and the Prodigal Son, Jesus illustrated the limitless nature of God's love and the call to extend that love to others. His teachings on forgiveness, including the call to forgive 70 times 7, highlight the essential role of grace in human relationships. Jesus' sacrificial death on the cross stands as the ultimate act of redemption, offering forgiveness and reconciliation to all who believe. The lasting impact of Jesus extends beyond his time, shaping both historical and modern contexts. His teachings have inspired countless movements for justice and peace throughout history, and he continues to be a figure of hope and transformation for millions around the world. His message challenges and inspires individuals to embrace lives of love, service, and faith, reminding us of the transformative power of living out his teachings. The whitewashing of biblical figures in art holds significant implications, influencing cultural identity and historical understanding. Depicting figures like Moses, Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba with European features distorts their identities and marginalizes their African and Middle Eastern roots. This misrepresentation can obscure the diverse cultural contributions of these figures, leading to a skewed perception of history. It can also create a disconnect for individuals seeking to connect with their heritage. Education plays a pivotal role in addressing these narratives. When biblical history is taught through a Eurocentric lens, it perpetuates stereotypes and narrows our understanding of cultural diversity. However, initiatives that promote accurate representation and include diverse perspectives can empower individuals to reclaim their identities and appreciate the rich cultural tapestry of history. Recognizing the impact of whitewashing encourages advocacy for a more inclusive approach to both art and education, fostering a deeper understanding and pride in the diverse cultures that shape our world. Accurate representation is crucial for building an equitable and informed society. By reflecting on these issues, we can contribute to a broader awareness and appreciation of the true identities of biblical figures and their significance in history.